Hello, everyone, and welcome to Automate Show. And this is my guest today, Andrew Perkins.
Hi, Jim.
Hey, Andrew, welcome to Automate. And Andrew is with TrueLight, and they're an exhibitor here at the show. Andrew, can you tell us a little bit about what TrueLight is showing at the show, and give us an idea of what they're going to see in your booth?
Sure. So TrueLight, we are an integrator that specializes in machine vision, specifically for quality inspection and advanced robotic guidance. What we've brought to Automate this week is a demonstration of a capability that we've developed with a partner, LMI. They've invited us into their booth, number 5400, to show the inspection of robotically applied MIG welds. The thing that's interesting and unique about what we've brought to Automate this week is we're using three-dimensional imaging combined with AI, so kind of the best of both worlds to come up with a solution that we believe is superior and compelling and something manufacturers are going to want to see and know more about.
Andrew, can you tell us a little bit more about TrueLight as well? TrueLight's kind of a new company, correct?
Yes, it is. TrueLight is a new company. So we are born out of BOS Innovations Incorporated. So we are a Canadian systems integrator that started in 1996 and has been gradually, progressively adding technology capabilities. 2019 was when BOS really cemented its expertise in machine vision. And then last year, we made the decision to spin off that capability into a separate business unit called TrueLight, in part so we could give vision, the trends, AI, the focus it needed to be the main thing for TrueLight, where for BOS it was a smaller part of a much larger, capable company. At TrueLight, vision and AI becomes the main thing.
So TrueLight is a new company, but you're not a new person in this industry. What are some of the trends that you've been seeing in machine vision over the last little while?
Absolutely. So, and it speaks to partly why we brought the demo we did, but we're seeing the realization, lots of people have tried machine vision. Machine vision is not new. It's been around for quite some time. But the reality is two-dimensional inspection is just sometimes not good enough. And then three-dimensional inspection, there are drawbacks when you're approaching it from a traditional non-AI way. And so the ability to take three-dimensional imaging and pair that with AI processing, you really get the best of both worlds. And that's a new trend, in part because you have a solution that's blind to surface condition. And so we don't have to worry about the coloring of those welds. Any kind of discontinuities will be picked up because we're looking at the profile of that part, measuring it from a Z perspective.
Well, tell us a little bit about the part you brought.
Yeah, so this is representative of a project we did. So we have lots of confidentiality agreements with customers, so we can't show their parts. So we had BOS, capable machine shop, build some representative sample parts. So this is representative of an automotive subcomponent that is being welded together, two separate parts and then 4 MIG stitch welds. And then the customer we had to apply this technology for, they had 16 unique defect types that they wanted to inspect every weld for. And then the results of that weld would be stored in a database and trended back to them in short and long-term data.
And so are those four good MIG welds?
Good question. In this case, this is an example of a rollover defect. So we've actually got a bunch of different defect types, a bin of parts over there that we can throw into the system and see how it detects. So this would be an example of a no good part for this particular application.
And how important is it for your customers to have this database?
From a quality control perspective, in the short term, it's critical to know that the parts you're making today are of the quality you need to fulfill your requirements and your contracts. And then long term, to have that evidence collected that if you do need it, in the case of a warranty claim or something like that, you can go into that database, pull that traceability data, and have that, clear sign that your quality operating system is doing what it's supposed to do.
So tell us a little bit about the demo that you have in the booth. You've got a robot, you've got a laser or camera from LMI, of course.
Yeah, so the integration piece of it is we have to apply this technology and make it work. So for our 3D-AI weld inspection solution, you've got the 3D laser profiler for LMI, the GoCator. That's kind of the centerpiece, and it needs motion to be to function, so to scan over that weld. So in our demo, we're using a robot.
Yes.
In this case, from ABB, one of their GoFac cobots, to showcase the motion that is required to scan that part. And then you need a control system to collect the data. We use our proximity smart support system that BOS has developed primarily for remote support to collect those analytics and then share that back to the operator so they have the ability to agree with the result or train it if they need to.
So tell me a little bit about proximity.
Yeah, so proximity is another thing born out of necessity, and innovation is sometimes the thing that comes from that. When COVID hit and BOS was growing and our footprint was growing, and we had machines not just going into southwestern Ontario but all over North America, America, including a large line going into Flint, Michigan. We needed a way to support that machine, put the pendant in the hands of our robot programmers, the Ethernet cable, connected to our PLC programmers' laptops without them physically being there. And so that drove the need to develop a solution. And we found ourselves using that remote connection to pull data to prove to ourselves that the machine was doing what we said it would do, or to prove to our customers that it was doing what we said it would do. And that turned into the opportunity to take that data, containerize it, and give it back to them in different ways that might be meaningful to a production audience, a maintenance audience, a quality control audience, or even a plant manager.
So do you use proximity on your own machines at BOS?
Absolutely. So it starts off as we use it to prove it out to ourselves.
Right.
So a big part of getting that machine done on the floor at BOS before we will take it to a customer's facility and prove it out there is getting that data collected to prove that it's running at the rate, at the level of quality that we committed to, so that it makes that transition as smoothly and as efficiently as possible.
Now, TrueLight, you're in your own separate building, correct?
We are. We've moved about 2 to 5 minutes away, depending on the traffic at Veterans Memorial in London. But we do have our separate facility. But when we're commissioning projects on the BOS floor, we're very close. So most of my team is on the floor at BOS today working on projects.
And so are you seeing any other interesting things happening in machine vision, new lenses, new lighting?
Yeah, so the training of AI models is becoming really interesting. One of the biggest barriers to AI really taking off in machine vision is the requirement of sample parts to train.
Right.
And sometimes that means asking for physical sample parts. And many times the machine that's making those parts is what you're producing for that customer.
Right.
So waiting for those sample parts to get started can be a painful thing. And so there's a lot of opportunity and innovation happening in synthetic images and artificial images, generative AI, to get you those images, those sample images, to at least get started quicker and make you a much easier company to work with for your customer and your integrator partners.
I think it's a really good point to talk to manufacturers about. It's like, hey, do you have enough good parts to give to your in your case into TrueLight, so that we can have enough to make?
Absolutely. And we often encourage customers when they're interested in this type of technology, if they're serious, as a gesture of that, start saving those defect parts, because those are gold for the training. And especially those edge cases, the ones that are the really small ones that are going to be tough to find, save those. That can sometimes be a challenge if they can recycle their parts and they can get value back. So in that case, save them as long as you can. We'll give them back to you and you can recycle them at that point.
Oh, no, that's good. So is there anything we forgot to talk about today?
Well, I would encourage anyone that heard something today that's interesting to feel free to pop by booth 5400 to talk to our colleagues at LMI or myself or my teammates from TrueLight. We can talk about machine vision, the integration side of it, which is how you take the cool technology you see here and actually make it work in production.
And how can people, if they're listening at home or so, get in touch with you?
Yeah, you'll find us at TrueLightMachineVision.com is our website, and we also have a LinkedIn and a YouTube channel that you can connect with us there. And then I'm on LinkedIn, Andrew Perkins. I'd be happy to connect with interested parties and start and see where you're at and how we can meet you.
Andrew, thanks for coming in today.
Jim, thank you for the interview. Thanks for your time.